All right, yeah. So let me make sure the camera's in check. Rich Man Z has in check, and I'm gonna get a Rich Man sip right here in front of you all. All right, so this was a story that again, as I said, I wouldn't usually react to this type of videos because again, my material is very different, but it was like I had to. So of course, if you see the thumbnail, you see the title, going to be looking at Sadia Khan, who right now is making all the waves for the wrong reasons. And funny enough is Sadia Khan actually comes from the place where I spent most of my time growing up, and again, long time, of course, a long time, and of course experience there. Of course, we're talking about United Kingdom, London, England. Yeah. So let me even do a backstory. So Sadia Khan, who is a psychologist, I believe, she gives like a lot of advice of being like a quote unquote high value woman. She's basically, and maybe in her view, she believes she's like the top G, like she's the opposite version of like top G, like the ones who are calling themselves high value men. She's like the high value woman version of there. So I came across Sadia Khan's video during the COVID time. Like at this time, for Richie Rich, when the COVID happened, the coronavirus, that was around the time I left London, England. I went to Mexico, spent time there. And when I was in Mexico, I was also taking trips to USA and also Canada. At the time when I was back in Mexico, I was watching a lot of these like coaches because the COVID for especially everyone was a very challenging time. You didn't really know what was going to happen. You couldn't really plan long term. So I stumbled on at a lot of these coaches at this time, from rest in peace Kevin Samuels, Fresh and Fit, the roommates at this time, Alpha Male Strategy, Steph is Cold, MJ Get Right, FedEx Fearless, the list goes on to the early morn. And Sadia Khan was one of the coaches I would see. Yeah, so you'd see her material like everywhere, folks. I used to see shorts, I used to see her on podcasts. She was even on a podcast with Just Pearly Things back in England. So I used to see her a lot, and I was like, yeah, this is like a really attractive girl. She's Pakistani, and again, I have so much history in this because in London, England, that's like a big central place where a lot of Pakistanis immigrate to. It's one of like the biggest immigrants in United Kingdom, especially London, England. So Sadia Khan, again, very like beautiful. I saw a lot of women who looked like Sadia Khan when I was growing up, and as I was doing my you could say doing my things and like moving, developing, I would always encounter women who look similar to Sadia Khan. And even when I watched her videos, because she does have good talking points, like not all the stuff she says is bullshit. There's some stuff she said that she's like spot on about stuff, especially where she talks about like as I've been, and it's like I said, it took the COVID to understand this, like to be an average man, especially in this day and age, it's really tough. You are not gonna get the options unless you try. I'm not saying you have to be higher value, but you have to be the best version of yourself in order to get the options you want to choose. So I really love when she talked about that. But there was always a thing where I saw Sadia Khan was I always saw her, even when from the beginning and even to now, when all this has started eroding and all this like receipts are coming out in these videos and they're saying she's a 304, she's a side chick. It always came across to me with her, it was just like a woman who was just in that position just because she's pretty. Pretty privilege does exist, folks. I know this because like my job that I do on the side, I work in the, you could say, media entertainment industry, and I've seen hot women pretty much get into positions further only really because of the way they looked. It's not because they could act, it's not because they could sing, it's not they could do some Guinness Book of Record thing. No. It's only primarily because of the way they look. And the way that Sadia Khan looks, she has this like kind of Middle Eastern Kim Kardashian type of look, which appeals to a lot of men, especially, of course, a lot of high value men. So a lot of the stuff she says, I put it like this: her biggest following, even though she claims to be a high value woman, her biggest following is primarily men, like the most like horniest men who are like looking at Sadia Khan. They're the one who also got their tab, and they also donate to OnlyFans every weekly, daily subscription. I tell you, so it's like really the most the guys who you could say who maybe lack that self-esteem, who lack that confidence, and probably are not in positions where they're meeting or coming across like beautiful women. And I'll even put my hand out on this because I even used to have this issue when I was back in my 20s in London, England. Like when I was working in the gym, there used to be beautiful women, and I used to, stutter and used to get nervous and sweaty. So I know what it's like. But as you grow older and you get experience and you develop that confidence, it's like it's just another person. And I don't feel like you need to really. There's guys who really, when they see a woman who looks like Sadia Khan, they put her on this grade A pedestal that she can do no wrong. And as you can see from what's happening now, she's just as fucked up like a lot of these 304s out there. Like I said, maybe she could be neighbors to Brittany Renner or something. But what the point I'm saying is that, and I'm gonna tie in with this with Brittany Renner, is that, as I said, from what you've seen now, like she was saying that she basically the one that really got me, and I said I had to comment on this, is she was basically a side chick, and she was basically cheating on a guy who was engaged, and this is all going in Dubai. And why I was saying this is that I've had my experience with women, like, from all over. Like I've been with Latina, I've been with white, I've been with black, I've been with Asian, all of it. There's some specific thing when it comes to being with a woman from Islamic beliefs, and this is no shade to like Muslims or Islamic culture. Especially even when I was England, anytime I would get in front of like a woman who was from Pakistan or a woman who was from that Arabic descent, a lot of them felt because they were a practicing Muslim that they could do no wrong, and that is completely incorrect, folks. Some of you'll find out, and now you've got like even when you listen to Sadia Khan's messages, like I can suck his dick, like, and on a wedding day, like even when you go to work, like all this, like basically exposing all this culture that she says not to be in her videos. She behaves like that. There is a lot of women, especially the ones like in the Islamic religion, who kind of put on the front, like they wear the hijab, like, assalamu alaikum, they're doing the salah and that, but I'm not saying all of them, but there's some ones who do have that, like I said, like that jump into men type of personality and tactics. Like in case in point, there's sluts. Again, so there's lots, not all of them, but there's some like that. And I like I said, I've been in certain cases when, for example, when I was back in England 8 years ago, I had a pretty much situation with like there was actually two. So these were these two like hot Asian girls who looked just like Sadia Khan, and they would one day wear the hijab and one day not wear the hijab, and one day wear the hijab, they not wear the hijab. I know what the Muslim culture is, and that's why I can talk about this because I've grown up within, I've dated, I've had family members who follow the Islamic culture, so I can talk about, especially, I'm not saying I'm the most knowledgeable, but I know a little bit. I know some bits in there. When I was encountering these like Sadia Khan wannabes back in England, they used to give this whole kind of attitude that they were above me because they were from an Islamic background. Like their shit didn't stink. And I never really got it really till like now when I'm seeing Sadia Khan crash out. She's now living in Dubai and she was in London, England, and she went there now. And then from what I heard, she already was married and now she's divorced. And she's basically finding ways just to secure the bag from this rich man. And I know this because when I was working back in the fitness environment, there were women who would go to Dubai or were getting flown out from these rich let's say again, high excel, high earning Dubai men. They were getting, so a lot of them things. So I feel like in this case for her, she's just in an environment where again, she's super attractive. I am not gonna lie. Straight up, she's a hot piece of ass. But some people, and this is what some guys gotta understand, and the rich team's gotta know this, is that just because this woman is like fucking fine, it doesn't mean that she has like the greatest moral values. Listen to me when I say this, and for someone who has been around with this and escaped this shit, and like I said, sometimes you only have to touch the stove once to be like, I ain't gonna get fucked again. I ain't gonna get messed around with again. Is that evil pussy does exist? I'm telling you. Like I said, I'm not just saying it even in those like Arabic, Middle Eastern fine women. I'm talking about women in all generals. Like there's some women, like I said, it's almost two faces. There's the way that they act. I like Sadia Khan. You see how she is, like in a video. She's very articulate, very well spoken. She sometimes speaks so quickly that if you're not a native English speaker, you wouldn't understand it. I actually even played one of her videos like at my job to show one of my students, but that's a story for another time. But again, she's very like prestige when you see her. But some people don't understand this other side, which a lot of these girls are like this. Like the difference is like, of course, with Brittany Renner, she already says that she's a slut. She's a stepdaddy season. She's a single mother, been married and got divorced. So she says that. So you know you can avoid a tramp like Brittany Renner. Sadia Khan, especially with the whole Islamic and like, I will never do anything to insult my master. Like I will bow my head and all this. Those are the ones you have to really watch out, because they will smile in your face and they're fucking stabbing you in the back. And when you're seeing from these messages, like I said, it does not surprise me, because I grew up in a place where I saw multiple Sadia Khans, and they acted like I said, like they shit didn't stink. They were fine, and this is for something like me. Is as I said this earlier, is for some guys, like I said, they need to really get in positions where they around more beautiful girls, because you understand once you're around them, they're still just like you. They have to burp, they have to break wind, they have to fart, they have to use the bathroom, they're gonna make mistakes, they're not as perfect as a lot of guys put them on the pedestal. And I as I said, a lot of people who see Sadia Khan, especially these guys who don't have that confianza, they will basically put her on the highest of highest. And this is a different thing with guys, because if there's a guy who's like super attractive, like I said, like that's Michael B. Jordan, like he's the only one I could think of. That they don't put that type. Some women don't put Michael B. Jordan on the pedestal like how some guys will put on the Sadia Khan. Like I said, hence, like it's only gonna be guys in the world who are gonna be spending millions to like their OnlyFans. Or this woman now, Sadia Khan, she's her course cost about £8,000. Do you know what £8,000 is? That's about at least over 10 grand dollars. And I know this because I do the conversion every time because I live here. Yeah, so only a man's gonna do that. Only a man will take every single earning they got from their pocket, the last paycheck, and they will send it to some evil pussy. Yeah, it's no sensible woman, no woman in general is gonna be doing that to a man. Like I know what I'm seeing, like with women doing that to Chris Brown, but Chris Brown's talented at least, so you can understand that. Sadia Khan has no talent. She's just a hot chick with just points, talking points, which I'm not going to say all of them are wrong. There's some points she's right, but the whole idea talking about like, because I watched many of her videos, like as I said, from around 2022 to now, and the whole point she was trying to put is like she is above being a slut. She has a sensible relationship. She's not out there hoeing, because she's in my age group. She's in her 30s now. You understand? This is the time, of course, you get married and you start your family. And she has the means and the financial freedom to do that. But when you hear stories like this, it just shows that, like, even as a woman who is a practicing Muslim can be out here on these streets. Yeah, so that's where my thoughts on this. I didn't really want to make this video too long. I'm just saying from experience. I felt like, especially because I come from the place where, and I said where again I met women like Sadia Khan, especially from that group. Those like Islamic women, especially the Islamic women who are fine. They believe that they're this type of like a deity, like you need to put them above because they're not making mistakes, they're not sleeping around, they're not indulging in like 3 or 4 behaviors that would be seen haram. Yeah, I said it, folks, haram. They're not doing that, but it is, like I said, it's two-faced. And I'll say it once again, it is sometimes better you see like Brittany Renner, who already, this is not a woman you're gonna say, yeah, I'm gonna take this home. I'm gonna show my family like this is a woman I'm gonna brought. No, no, no. Keep that bitch on the 4th Avenue on the Chicago street. Like you put her right at the end of there. That's a woman when you just see her. She's a slut. The ones like Sadia Khan, the one is like they mask it. Like I said, you will never really know until she gets exposed, from another woman, what she's truly capable of. Like I said, it just feels like it's just some woman who's just trying to uh, benefit on men who are just like putting her on the highest of highest. £8,000 for a course? You gotta be kidding me. And I saw ones that they said like she demanded a fee just to appear on people's podcasts. Like for me, someone like I'm just growing my platform now. I would love at the chance if someone was gonna put me like on their podcast just to get more exposure. I wouldn't be asking for no damn fee. I would be so like gratified that they were able to notice me. So that's my thoughts on this Sadia Khan being exposed. As I said, she does have some good talking points that I listen to and adhere. But if you sum it up all, and this is just the truth, and like I said, she's not the only one. The only reason she's in that position is just the way she looks. Like I said, it's just like just imagine for those dudes who are like subscribing to OnlyFans, it's that IG baddie that you're following who just has a platform. That's who she is. But that being said, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let's get to that 10K, baby. And if you haven't already done, folks, what are you waiting for? Get your paper right and update your wallet.